Now we're going to talk about the Jets. They hold the number 2 overall pick. And while that's exciting, I think what's even more exciting for the New York Jets is that Adam Gase is finally gone. He's finally fired. In 2 years with the Jets, he went 9-23. They were 32nd in yards per game and they were 32nd in offensive yards in his 2 years there. In 2019, they were 31st in points. 2020, this past year, they were 32nd in points. So the offensive guru didn't live up to his name. Jamal Adams left. Le'Veon left. Williamson left. McClendon left. Robbie left. All players that we were extremely excited about going into this new coaching era that were supposed to be our building stones for the future with Darnold as the franchise quarterback, but we all know that's not true. And the question is, do you think that Adam Gase is the worst coach in Jets history?
I think he is, personally. And, you could make arguments for some other guys. I know a lot of people like to make the argument for Rich Kotite, who had an even worse winning percentage as head coach. But I think that the reason he's the worst Jets coach ever is not as... It's definitely because of the record, and the record is what makes it stand out. But it's the way that they lost over these last 2 seasons, because I think last year the Jets had the talent to be a playoff team, and even this year they had the talent to at least be competitive. I know they had those 2 wins, and they were in a handful of other games. They had the talent to win football games. I don't think when you look up and down the roster there's any question about that, but just the way they lost, the poor decisions that he made, coaching-wise and managing the locker room-wise. He ostracized star players. He hurt the culture that was trying to be built. And I don't think that he was the only one that had a hand in it. I don't think Mike McCagnon helped with the decisions that he made going into his first season. But Adam Gase was far and away the problem. And I think if you gave the Jets a good head coach over the last 2 seasons, I think last year they could have at least been a playoff contender. They were almost a playoff contender with Adam Gase last season. And then this season, I think they wouldn't have been in the same situation. Jamal Adams probably still would have been a Jet. Robbie Anderson probably still would have been a Jet. Le'Veon Bell. So they would have been a totally different team. But not only was it the losses, but just his handling of the head coaching position that made him so bad. On top of the fact that you look at the other candidates that were up for the job, a guy like Eric Bieniemy was the guy that I wanted. And now he's led one of the most prolific offenses in the NFL the last 2 seasons, and he's a top candidate for the job now.
I think I'm looking like you can go off records, but Gase has only been there 2 years. You guys had a 7-9 record with him, and then you were 2-14. That is probably the worst record you have had in the past decade. And like you said, Jets fans have talked about it for the past 2 years. You've been wanting him out. The way you guys lose games, the way you guys walk in with game plans, it's, excuse my language, it's a shit show. And then when you see the way he's constructed, like you said, losing Robbie Anderson, essentially getting Le'Veon Bell, but getting him no help on the offensive end. So it's like, what did you get him for? Putting no weapons around Sam Darnold, essentially, when he is a good talent. He can ball. He just hasn't really had the right situation around him. I mean, Gase, when you look at it and all that, in 2 seasons, how bad he turned the Jets, you have to say he's the worst coach in history. I mean, Todd Bowles, he had you guys fighting. You guys were 10-6. You guys, at one point, you didn't have talent, but Gase had talent. And when you have talent and you don't win, it looks bad on the coach. It can't be looked on the players. It has to be looked on the coach. And when you have talent like you guys did with Robbie Anderson on them, you don't win. Got to be Gase, man. Got to be Gase.
I mean, Robbie Anderson became a 1,000-yard receiver with the Panthers. And I imagine the receiving core of Robbie, Mims, and Crowder. That's a pretty damn good receiving core, in my opinion. A core that's not the bottom of the league. They're kind of middle in the pack. Dolphins fans are probably complaining about that type of receiving core, though, because they love to make excuses for quarterbacks.
No, that's a good receiver.
But I mean, look, in Adam Gase's 5 years as a head coach, not even just with the Jets, with the Dolphins too, his teams have been outscored by 544 points. His teams have been outscored by 544 points. Teams have trailed after the first quarter by 210 total points. He's 35-48 career, 35-48, and his career losses have come by double digits. 35 of his 48 career losses have come by double digits. 27 of his 32 career wins have come by 1 score. And Adam Gase is definitely the worst coach that I've lived through as a Jets fan. I mean, as a Jets fan, when I started watching football, I was very fortunate because I started really watching when Rex Ryan became the coach. You know, just heading out of that Eric Mangini era. So I've been there for Rex Ryan, Todd Bowles. You know,
and even though Todd Bowles didn't do a great job, like I always felt like he cared about what was happening. He was a leader of that team. Like, and every week we went out and competed. I never felt like I felt with this Jets team. I didn't feel any hope with this.
I just
Jets
feel
team.
like in the past 2 years, you guys have had the most drama on the team. Even with Bowles there, like you didn't hear a lot about the drama in the locker room, guys wanting out and all that. With this guy though, it's like every week it's something new, and it's like, damn, bro, like it can't like if 10 people say something about you, it can't be wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like it gotta be you. So it's like
maybe if 100 are saying the opposite, I don't know.
Like at one point, it gotta be you, and I feel like with all the drama and the circus going on in New York, it's just like, man, it gotta be him, bro.
Yeah, you know, I didn't live through the Richie Kotite era, so I can't really say that.
Bro, you serious?
Who was worse or not?
Richie who?
Kotite.
What was that? When was that?
That was the worst winning
like
percentage in Jets history.
1996
Him
or 97.
and Lou Holtz are the only two coaches in Jets history to have a lower winning
What's
percentage.
his last name?
Richie Kotite.
Kotite. Yeah, you were 1-15 and 3-13.
So yeah, I mean, definitely through what I've lived through, Gase has been the worst.
The reason that we were so good last year is because the schedule that the Jets played was horrendous. So
yeah,
the fact
beat
that
the teams you were supposed to
the
beat.
fact that the Jets went 7-9 against that schedule last year was embarrassing.
You could have went 9-7.
It didn't get enough eyeballs on it that they went 7-9 because of how bad the schedule was, and the record didn't look that bad, but when you saw it, it was glaringly obvious that there was a coaching issue.
If the Jets rebuilt this the right way, what Buffalo was doing is what the Jets would have been doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've said it.
Surrounding Josh Allen with talent.
But in your guys' opinion, our viewers that are watching and listening, do you guys think that Adam Gase is the worst Jets coach in their team history? 41 is pretty cool.
I don't think we've had 40 people watching since NBA draft.
So
night.
shout out to you guys.
No.
So let's answer.
Wait,
so let's hold on.
Hold on. Let me explain. It's my first day back.
Oh,
After
so listen.
You know what I mean?
So listen. Ashton Vega asked us, what is y'all's favorite team? So I guess we'll just answer that question real quick. So I'm a Jets fan and I'm a Knicks fan for basketball / a Rockets fan too.
Yo.
So who's your favorite team, Riv?
If we're doing that, Eagles, Warriors, Bulls.
I'm a Jets and Net fan. I don't have a second team. I'm loyal to the soil. 10 toes.
I'm not even a Warriors fan. I'm just a Steph Curry fan.
No, but I will say before we move on from the Jets, I don't think that the Jets are as far away as people make it out to be. I do think Sam Darnold's going to get traded this offseason. I think they're going to draft a quarterback, whether it be Zach Wilson or Justin Fields. And I know I've been very down on Justin Fields, but one thing I want to say, and my confidence, I never want to make my decision on a guy based on one game, but what he did in the college football playoff semifinal really cemented the point that I'm about to make. There are 4 things that you cannot argue about Justin Fields. He's a great leader. He's a great kid from all accounts. He's a very smart kid, and he's a hard worker. And if you put those 4 things together with the physical tools that he has and you pair it with a good head coach, it's a recipe for success. And so I don't think that he would be a bad choice. I don't think that Zach Wilson would be a bad choice. I think he's a bit more of a project, but I think he has a higher ceiling. And if you could get the quarterback right, there's a lot of talent on this Jets roster.
Yep.
They were not as bad as their record showed. They have $70 million in cap space. They have the second best draft capital this year, and they have a few extra picks next year. So I think that this could be a very quick turnaround. You look at the Dolphins last year, and that's the model that I'm looking at for the Jets to follow. You go out, you hire a really good head coach like they did in Brian Flores. You hopefully get the quarterback right, and you could be competing quickly.